Not too long ago, I was watching Mr. Pete's YouTube channel, and he made some C-clamps. And it sparked an idea for me. I made these little C-clamps, and they only have a 1-inch opening. And this was the only small C-clamp that I had, and I probably used this one more than any of my other C-clamps. So I dug around in my scrap metal bin and found this 2x2 piece of, looks like cast iron. So I think it'll be perfect for my C-clamps. I want to try to get 4 pieces out of it. I want to use a 1/4-inch bolt for the clamping screw. First I marked it out at 5/8 of an inch wide, but that was going to be too wide, so I decided to go with 1/2 inch. The metal stock that I was using was getting too short for my bandsaw, so I used the piece that I cut off and put it on the opposite side of the jaws to even out the pressure. So now the metal piece is way too small for the vise. So I'll use a piece of metal for a backer so I can get it closer to the saw blade and still clamp it. I can't use my vise stop anymore, so I'll just use a piece that I already cut off as a gauge for the thickness. Next, I'll clean them up in the sandblast cabinet. I've got it set up for dry blasting right now. Next, I'll mill them all down to the exact same thickness. I did a rough layout on how I wanted to remove the inside material. I'm using a 1/4 inch end mill. So I moved the milling table around and marked down all the locations on a piece of scratch paper. That way I can use the DRO for all my start and stop points. So now I can use the DRO to go to my next location. It's straight across from one location to the next on the back side of the C-clamp, so I can hog out all that material now. So now using the vise stop, I can do the exact same thing to the next 3. Next, I need to change the angle of my vise. I'm using a 1/4 inch gauge pen to locate the holes so I have the right alignment. So using the vise stop, I can duplicate the next 3. Off camera, I changed the angle of the vise again to do the cuts on the other side of the C-clamp. The reason I didn't cut all the way through the C-clamps, I wanted to make sure they were stable so when I drill and tap for the screw, everything will be in alignment. So I'll use the edge finder and the DRO to find the exact center and edge of the C-clamp. I don't need to drill and tap any more than maybe 3/4 of an inch down. The rest of it's going to be cut off, except for the foot at the bottom. Now I can cut the rest of the way through with the slitting saw. I used the bandsaw on the bottom half where the footrest is going to be. I'm going to mill it anyway so that the foot will be in perfect alignment with the clamping screw. Because I was using a tapered tap earlier, now I can finish tapping the hole all the way through. Next, I'm going to make the feet for the clamping screws. The outside diameter of the feet is going to be 3/8 of an inch. Next, I'm going to drill a 3/16 hole all the way through, or at least deep enough to get 4 pads for the clamping screws. Now I'm going to use a 1/4 inch end mill and counterbore to a depth of 3/32. I'm going to make the foot 3/16 of an inch tall. So now I can just repeat the process to make 3 more feet. Next, I need to modify the clamping screw so I can put a foot on the bottom of the screw. I'm going to turn the screw down to 3/16 of an inch to match the hole that I put in the foot. And I'll cut it back 3/16 of an inch to match the height of the foot. Now I need to drill a hole in the bottom of the screw so it's just thin enough to be able to spread it to hold the foot on. I'm only drilling in 3/32 of an inch because after I flare the end of the screw to hold the foot on, I still want the foot to be able to swivel. I'm going to use a ball bearing and an arbor press to flare the bottom of the screw to hold the foot onto the screw. But before I do that, I'm going to cold blue all the parts. I'm cleaning all the parts with acetone. The bluing instructions say after you rinse and dry all the parts to soak them in oil for 24 hours. So now it's time to flare the end of the screw with the arbor press and a ball bearing. I had to put a little bit of grease on the end of the screw to keep the foot from falling off. while I maneuvered it over the ball bearing. I'm pretty happy with the way that worked, and the foot will still swivel on the screw.